Let's take a look at our Corona tail of the tape. Corona reminds you to find your beach. 7 years older is JoJo Dan. The height advantage is squarely in the favor of Jamal James. The Minneapolis native reach is virtually identical, and as you see, their records. Ladies and gentlemen, from Uniondale, New York, Premier Boxing Champions now features 10 rounds in the welterweight division. The three judges ringside are Glenn Feldman, Kevin Morgan, and Robin Taylor. And the referee in charge when the bell sounds, Eddie Claudio. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the blue and the white. His professional record includes 36 wins, 19 of those coming by way of knockout against 4 losses. Fighting out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. He is the former title challenger. Please welcome JoJo Dan. And across the ring, his adversary fighting out of the blue corner. He comes in wearing the purple and the silver. As a professional, 20 wins, 9 of those coming by way of knockout against 1 loss. Hailing from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Jamal Shango James.
Jamal, JoJo. Okay, Jamal, you can work right here. JoJo, you can work right here, okay? Remember what I told you in the dressing room. Do a good, clean fight, obey my commands, and protect yourself at all times, okay? Touch him up, let's get popping.
Division, Jamal Shango James out of Minneapolis against JoJo Dan. JoJo Dan coming off a loss last year that actually happened to be the co-feature of your card. Danny, when you defeated Samuel Vargas in impressive fashion, JoJo Dan fought Jared Hurd, got finished off in that matchup, but still put up a valiant effort. Jamal James coming off a loss to your Dennis Urgas last August.
Yeah, definitely. JoJo's a tough guy. I think he actually went up in weight to fight Jared Hurd at 154. I believe this is more of his natural weight, so it should better him in this fight. So we gotta see.
You know what's interesting is with Jamal James, as you look at his very colorful attire. It's interesting that, you know, we were talking before one of his last fights, and I asked him, I go, you know what, you're from Minneapolis. He's a very proud member of that community. He actually teaches boxing to the youth there at his boxing gym. But I asked him, I go, you know what, you're a member of Minneapolis, just like how Prince was, late great Prince. I go, what about wearing some attire to remember Prince? And look at him now, my goodness, Shango James is showing out with his attire.
You have a lot of influence, right?
Well, I don't know if he took it just a suggestion. I'm sure he did that on his own, but yeah, it's nice to see that at least someone's taking one of my suggestions.
Well, maybe he likes the Minnesota Vikings. You don't know, right?
It's possible. Either or.
Well, his walkout song was "Let's Go Crazy." That's Prince, so
oh, yeah,
I'm sure there was an acknowledgement there.
Exactly.
The Minnesota Vikings have made me as a Bear fan go crazy many times, but right now, Jamal James is hoping to sort of fluster and throw off JoJo Dan. This could be an impressive victory for Jamal James if he's able to get past JoJo Dan, as JoJo Dan has fought in there, lost to Count Broka, Jared Hurd. Those are some very possible names and very big names in the sport.
It lets Jamal know where he belongs in the sport by Dan fighting that caliber of competition. So it'd be a great win for him tonight, but Dan didn't come to lose, he didn't come to lay down.
And JoJo Dan told us in the fighter meetings that their goal is just to pressure Jamal James, that James, even though he's taller, he likes to mix it up, so they want to find a way to take him into those deep rounds, and a nice straight right hand that landed for Shango.
Yeah, just to confirm, his trunks are dedicated to Prince. Rest in peace, Prince.
Dan hasn't adjusted to Shango's reach yet. He's trying to figure out, should I go in behind the jab, which he's doing right now, or should I just walk straight in, or should I counter? He's got 3 things on his mind right now.
And a nice straight right that landed by Jamal James. We saw Jamal James also, Virgil, last year against Wally Omotoso.
A great fight that he pulled out. Omotoso being a very tough competitor. James showing his pedigree there. Listen, he's right there at the cusp of the 147-pound division also.
range, like I said, he needs to do. Not playing on the inside, use his jab, use his straight right hand. That's using good footwork, and that's what he's been doing so far. So good.
Jamal James and JoJo Dan. You know, James did a good job of using his distance in the first round. And at times, I mean, maybe it's the fact that he loves to mix it up and he wants to be a crowd-pleasing fighter. But Jamal James, when he uses his distance and his range, he is very difficult to beat.
He is, and that's his style of fighting. He realizes that he's going to always have a height advantage in this division, and he knows that the opponent has to get there to get to him. So he's mastered everything he needs to do to try to keep the opponent at the end of his punches, and he's doing it very well tonight so far.
And Danny, for JoJo Dan, the fact that he is 35 years of age, he needs a victory over someone like Jamal James. He must gain the respect and start, so you can't allow Jamal James to get ahead on the scorecards, because then you'll be facing an uphill climb.
But definitely he has to try to be more aggressive and be smart coming in, using his jab, landing some good body shots, open up some good head shots. But I think he has to take it to him in a smart, aggressive way. He's not going to win this fight on the outside. He has to try to do that right there. Make it a rough fight, dig him to the body, try to chop him down.
100 seconds left in the second round, and almost on your cue, Danny, JoJo Dan picked up his aggression.
Yeah, that's his only chance in this fight. He can't stay on the outside. He's going to catch them with straight jabs and right hands all night. And James is going to step around like that. He has to use that jab, try to go to the body. Can't headhunt like that.
There's been a couple of occasions when Jamal has fell in with his right hand, and that would give Dan a chance to catch him falling in. He needs to look for that a little bit more.
And Virgil JoJo Dan has closed the distance back here in the second. Look at this again to be by Jamal James.
He's mixing up his attack real well, and so far he's got JoJo confused. JoJo looks like he's made up his mind. The only way I'm going to get into this fight is to press the fight. That's what he's trying to do. But James knows that's what he needs to do, so he's prepared for it.
A stinging uppercut that connected for Jamal James.
Right there, when JoJo waits, he can't wait. James takes off on him.
Every time JoJo lands a good combination, he lets James win it right back instead of making him earn it or getting out of there. He just kind of like let him hit him back. Basically, you hit me, I hit you.
Well, credit to Jamal James, because he has the sense of urgency that we are witnessing here tonight against JoJo Dan. And again, picks it up and throws a couple punches. Jamal James goes right back at him.
Exactly.
Closing stages of the second round, Jamal James and JoJo Dan. And the man known as Shango.
Well, most definitely he has to close the distance, and I think he needs to double up his jab a little bit more to make that effective for him. And he also has to move his head a little bit if he's going to stand there in front of Jamal and let Jamal get first. He needs to slip over to his left or the right and then step in and try to counter that. Right there, he didn't do too well with it.
Let's see what the numbers are saying in the fight here. Punch stat numbers as Jamal James throwing more in upending JoJo Dan with a 24% knockout percentage. And Jamal James goes right back to the attack. Right here. Smacks the head of JoJo Dan. Now JoJo Dan is gone. He seems to have his equilibrium off, where he was off balance. As referee in charge, Eddie Claudio will separate them.
I think he was more off balance with that shot, but at the same time, you cannot let Jamal start hitting you with lead right hands, because right behind that is going to be a left hook, either upstairs or downstairs.
And Danny, sometimes when you place a shot and you're off balance, it could be the best of both worlds, where it gets the best of you and you end up tumbling to the floor and you hit the canvas because of that.
You definitely, usually when you throw a punch and you're off balance, you're wide open for a counter shot. So that's probably never a good position unless you're lucky enough to be out of position when you throw it, you know, and you fall in somewhere else. But usually when you throw a punch and you fall in, you're wide open for a counter. That's what I look for. Me as a fighter, that's what I look for. I look for fighters to reach, fall in, so I can counter them with big counter punches.
You have certainly made for yourself during the course of entire championship career, being able to make your opponents pay for reaching and making a mistake. And Jamal James is certainly trying to follow that same mindset against JoJo Dan, who is moving forward, but he seems off balance when he comes in for a show, and he doesn't seem to be, he's just plodding forward and very heavy on his feet.
Well, what happens is he's moved forward pretty good, but he's let Jamal know when the punches come up because he stops. Once he gets into that zone where he can fire, he stops. And Jamal just takes off on him. Right here, he's sliding to him, but he's not sliding behind anything. So, big body shot. Another one.
JoJo Dan is now having his best success that we've seen in this pocket later in the 3rd round.
But he knows he has to make a fight out of it if he's going to win. He can't stand in Jamal's punches. He knows he has to make a fight out of it. But Jamal knows that also. So right now, I think the fight is indicating that either it's going to stay this way or somebody's going to pull through and push through.
We're nearing the final moments of this 3rd round between Jamal James and JoJo Dan. Contest here in the welterweight division. And Jamal James finishing off strong in this 3rd round.
Definitely, he came in this fight with a mindset, a disciplined mindset, where he's not going to engage and he's going to box. And you can tell that's what he's going to stick to. He's going to stick being on the outside. He's going to fight a disciplined fight. He's not going to try to engage, and he's going to use his footwork, and just like he is now. He's got his mind made up.
He just landed a really nice lead right hand about 15 seconds ago. And again, I say it's just a matter of time before he brings that hook around. Dan is dropping his right hand every time Jamal throws that straight right.
And the ring generalship for Jamal James, he has been displaying tonight, using the ring, getting out of danger when he needs to, and he has JoJo Dan just sort of guessing as to what he's going to do next.
This is his fight. This is the way he has to fight it. And again, I'll say his height advantage suggests that he has to be able to move. He has to be able to step to the side and be nimble on his feet, because everybody who fights him realizes they're going to have to close the distance to beat him.
Danny, if you are JoJo Dan and you are fighting a movement, someone look at that crushing right hand that got through the guard of JoJo Dan, is Jamal James is very accurate right now here in this 4th round.
Jamal stops sometimes to throw. I don't think JoJo has really the reflex and the eyes to catch him. He just balls up, but lets him hit him like that. That's his defense right there. He's just trying to slip or step around, and that's not going to cut it for him.
Jamal is stopping his feet when JoJo stops his, and then Jamal beats him to the punch. If you watch very closely, Jamal will move as soon as JoJo stops his feet. Jamal stops and punches him, so he's got that rhythm down right now. JoJo's going to have to keep going, stop and then go again and keep him confused.
And could that be because of this exchange here?
I was talking about.
I'll tell you what, JoJo's digging down on that punch. I look at his face, he's coming down on that mouthpiece. He's really trying to land one big punch.
He's trying to connect with that home run shot. And Jamal James continues to pump out his volume and be active when it comes to throwing punches.
He should be trying to slip. JoJo should be trying to slip those punches instead of just catching them on the gloves. That takes a toll on you after 5 or 6 rounds. Then somebody feeling your gloves instead of slipping and moving your head a little bit.
And this is the best we've seen JoJo. What a shot there, my goodness.
And you can see the wear and tear starting to come on JoJo. He's breathing heavy now. His mouth is open. And you can't keep taking pinpoint punches like that. Accurate punches like that do a lot of damage. If it continues
Look at Dan, a good little body shot over there.
When Dan was going right to the ribs of Jamal James, but James gets out of danger. Welcome back to the PBC on FS1. JoJo Dan and Jamal Shango James. James has looked terrific in what is a bounce-back fight for him after falling short to your Dennis Ugas. But incidentally, guys, that loss to Ugas is nothing to frown upon. Ugas has went out there and he beat Brian Perella, and Ugas is on a 3-fight winning streak and is really sort of capturing some magic later in his career.
Well, definitely, he's an Olympian. I believe he's an Olympic bronze medalist for the Cuban team. So he has an amateur pedigree. He knows what he's doing, and he's trying to make a name for himself in America.
Trains under Ismael Salas and Joel Casamayor. They come from that Cuban school of thinking. So, but right now, Jamal James, you know, we asked him about that loss. He said it was the best thing that could have happened to him.
No knockdown, no knockdown. You all right, though? Okay. Let's go.
I think what's interesting is that JoJo Dan starts showing signs of distress in the corner, particularly by blinking his eyes continuously. It's something that's bothering him in his eyes, possibly. He's constantly blinking. And he seems like he's having
I like how he's trying to dig that little left uppercut to the body.
He is. He's trying to close the distance to protect his eye, I believe.
Left hook to the body by Jamal James, and James is going to get down JoJo Dan. And Dan just got hit with a sledgehammer right hand down the middle. And Jamal James, his confidence continues to grow. Virgil, you mentioned about reflexes in the last round. Could it be a sign of the wear and tear from the wars that he's had, from the fights that he's had against the likes of Kell Brook, Jared Hurd, and also the fact that at 35 years of age, you do not have as quick reflexes, and your muscle fibers don't twitch as fast compared to that of someone who's 28 years of age, that being Jamal James?
Well, he's been in some tough fights. He's been in some very tough fights against some very tough caliber of competition, particularly champions. So right now, he's asking himself, do I want to continue to do this at 35 years old? Do I want to absorb this kind of punishment? Because he is taking some punishment right now. He's still in there fighting, but is he going through the motions, or is he thinking? Because he's getting hit with a lot of punches coming in, and now he's starting to get hit with punches going out.
He just slipped a few punches right there. I like to see him do a little more of that.
And James is starting to put 2 and 3 together, which is not a good sign. Dan is going to have to land something to turn this fight around.
And JoJo Dan, as you mentioned, Danny, needs to bite down on his mouthpiece and just sort of go and understand he's got to empty out his gas tank. Jamal James, very sharp and accurate.
A lot of fighters, when they're a taller guy, feel like they can't use the jab because they're a shorter person. I'm a firm believer the jab's a great weapon against a taller guy. They can use it. Hit him with a clean shot.
We are halfway home as Jamal James, as let's take a look. UFC Fight Night on a special day and time. 8th ranked Gunnar Nelson takes on number 14, Santiago Ponzinibbio, plus Joanne Calderwood. Battles Cynthia Calvo. UFC Fight Night tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1. And Jamal James has looked exceptional tonight against JoJo Dan, the former title contender. And Virgil, Jamal James is starting to really pick up the intensity and ferocity here tonight.
He is. He's starting to put 2 and 3 together. That's a bad sign in boxing when you put 2 and 3 together and you get caught with the 3rd punch. This is what's going on. And Dan is going to have to desperately make some adjustments. You can see the wear and tear of these punches landing around his eyes and around his cheeks. And he's continuously rubbing his eyes. So I don't know if it's not a good thing to do. He's going to continue to swell his own eyes up by rubbing like that. So he needs to turn it around with a big shot if he's going to be in this fight. Right now, James is having his way.
To me, that's showing weakness when the fighter starts rubbing his eye or, like, you know, complaining about headbutts or low blows all the time. It's just, I think it's kind of losing a little bit of willpower. It's just signs of, you know, if this happens no more, I don't want to be in this fight.
You're absolutely right, champ, because the referee sees it, the judges see it, the doctors see it, we see it. And it's getting continuously worse for him right now.
Let's take a look at punch stats from the first 5 rounds. Jamal James shaking up JoJo Dan. Jamal James with a 58% connect percentage compared to that of only 19% by JoJo Dan. And Dan has some heart, but he is getting tattooed with straight right hands from Jamal James, and James just left him up with the lead right hand.
And James is starting to bring the left hook in. He had a big left hook about 30 seconds ago. He started to bring the left hook in on the right hand.
And Jamal James, as soon as JoJo Dan closes the distance, Jamal James slips out and is able to gain the center of the ring as he's been moving around very quickly has Jamal James.
Now, one thing JoJo did there that was very interesting, he started to hurt Jamal right now. He started grabbing and moving back to where he wants to move, where Jamal tries to stay. So he might have found something that might work for him.
80 seconds
Good
left.
body shot. Good body shot.
Those body shots.
Yes. See how he's hurt?
And now Jamal James retreating backwards. For the first time in the fight, Jamal James is retreating backwards. He bent over a little bit. He could very well be hurt.
Painful to the body.
JoJo Dan, 35 years of age against a man 7 years his junior. And you know what? It's such a thing, and I guess I'm approaching that a little bit. You know, in his early 30s, but it's old man strength. But a straight right hand down the middle that connects for Jamal James. But it's that old man strength that maybe JoJo Dan is exemplifying.
Well, again, what I saw was he started to put his arm out and steer Jamal where he wants him to go, not where Jamal wants to go. So it's been effective for him this round. If he could keep it up, he might get a punch through that he's looking for.
If he could put his combinations together after
Jamal James went backwards. My goodness. Oh my.
if he could put them together after the body shots, he's doing good.
We have some drama here in Uniondale, New York. And Virgil, when you have a fighter that gets the momentum shifted back in his favor, if you're Jamal James, how quickly does he need to go out there and assert himself again in the fight?
Well, he needs to reestablish his dominance, that's for sure, because he woke up behind his work this last round. And if he can put another round like that together, we have a different fight going down the stretch here.
Let's take a look at how the fans have the fight scored on the throwdown scoring app. We ask that you go ahead and go down the throwing scoring app and ask us and judge the fight 59-55 in favor of Jamal James.
Dan is coming alive. He's been reinvigorated by his work the last round, and his effort is apparent now. He feels like he has something working. Let's see if he can continue to press forward.
And Dan is pressing Jamal James. And you know what? He's starting with his jab. The reason why he's been able to get on the inside, he is using his jab. And now Jamal James continues to move backwards. But we're seeing more jabs being placed by JoJo Dan. What a big shot there by JoJo Dan.
You use that jab and work to the body, good things can happen for him. Jamal was doing a little bit of arm punching this round, like using a little bit of steam.
Jamal's body language is not good at this point. It's not to the point where he maybe get knocked down or get hurt, but it shows that he's wilting just a little bit.
And Virgil, it's no surprise that JoJo Dan has been more effective because he is using the most fundamental punch in boxing, that being the jab, and everything else is flowing off of that.
And he's also not stopping in front of Jamal right now. He's getting right to the point, so Jamal can't tire him as easy.
Back comes Jamal James down. Jamal James is hurt. I don't know if that's a thing that he wants to fight on the inside or if that he's buying a little time, but Jamal James bends himself over almost halfway and he stops. And I wonder if JoJo Dan sees that to throw a catalog and an assortment of punches off of that.
Well, it's not a good move for Jamal to bend over because he's not in a position to punch, and he doesn't see JoJo's punches coming right here. He's not in a good position. Now he's trying to come to the body with the maybe that's his strategy. But to see a tall man bend over like that and sacrifice his height is not good. He's trying to land a big punch. He's trying to keep JoJo off of him.
A couple of uppercuts that back up JoJo Dan from Jamal James. And James has found some energy, and he's just electing to stand and trade in the pocket with JoJo Dan.
I wonder if Jamal is giving him his last shot. He looks wilted just a little bit, but he's starting to come alive. He's strong at this point.
Action-packed 7th round between Jamal James and JoJo Dan. As there you see the Grant brothers, very famous in Montreal. This was an action-packed 7th round, Danny.
That was a stiff jab right there by JoJo.
And it was a nice stiff jab, and he drew a nice up left too.
And it's more JoJo Dan who was able to close the distance, and he just started to throw some punches to the body, but Jamal James would not be deterred as he answered back his own with some uppercuts.
This could be a fight of attrition right now.
Who wants it more is exactly the question. You took the words right out of my mouth, Virgil. Who is going to summon the will? This is absolutely a war of wills tonight.
Whoever ran that extra mile, that's what it comes down to.
I didn't like the way Jamal went back to his corner and just threw out his mouthpiece the last round. He just gave indication that he was tired. But he's showing heart right now. He's got to reestablish his dominance, or JoJo's just going to keep going on, and it's going to be a close fight on the scorecards if he goes the distance.
When we asked Jamal James about his thoughts of how the welterweight division landscape is currently sorted, he goes, it's lovely because there are a variety of big fights out there, including, I don't know, the man standing next to me, Danny Garcia. There is just a litany of guys. You know, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Sean Porter, the list goes on and on. So Jamal James wants to elevate himself into the top 15, top 10 to be in that conversation.
Definitely. He just has to win impressive. He just has to win impressive. You want to take that next step to the world championship level, you got to be impressive. You know, if I'm in there and I see I hurt my opponent, you know, with a body shot, you know, it's like I'm going to go for the kill. And that's the difference between, you know, this level and my level. Is when you get hurt, you got to be prepared.
Jamal right now at this point just doesn't look unsteady on his legs. He's not sitting down on the punches. He's throwing hard arm punches, but he's not getting his body behind the punches right now. Whereas Dan is really sitting on heels and putting them through. And you can see the difference in the last 2 or 3 rounds.
95 seconds left in the 8th round. Virgil, could that be a sign of the fact that finally JoJo Dan in the past 2 or 3 rounds has invested time into ripping the body of Jamal James, and he has been successful in landing it because he's leading with the jab?
No doubt. And that's what body shots do to you. They can break you down rather quickly if you don't know how to defend against it. But Jamal has had a good round so far. He's putting punches together this round. Looks like he's coming back and reestablishing himself. Let's see if he can keep it up. 1 left in the round.
It's not as effective as it was earlier, but it still looks like he's doing enough to win the round.
Yes, at this point. But right here, these little shots to the body take a lot out of you.
I won't be surprised if he has a bruised rib or something, the way he bends down every time just to protect his body. That means something hurts down there.
And Danny, you know what it is when you move the body and a big straight left down the middle of the chin of Jamal James, but James claps right back with a couple lead right hands of his own. When you attack the body, it's almost like depositing money into a savings account. Down the line, you may need it, you can cash in on it for a rainy day, and that is what JoJo Dan has done, but Jamal James continues and is countering JoJo Dan here in this 8th round.
It's a smart
Nice body shot by James that time. James seems to be reinvigorated here.
He's got his legs underneath him again, does Jamal James.
Body shot again.
But it is not easy as JoJo Dan continues to press and rip into the body.
Set him up for another good fight, for another payday, so he knows that if he loses this fight, that it's not looking good for, you know, his next fight in his career.
Let's examine some punch-stat numbers from the first 8 rounds of this matchup. As you see, Jamal James still outlanding JoJo Dan, but JoJo Dan is being more active as we have witnessed in this battle between Jamal James and JoJo Dan. Final 2 rounds here, round number 9.
James opened up the round pretty good, landing some nice solid shots. Definitely eye catchers for the judges. But this is where he's having his problems when he's stationary along the ropes, bending over his knees and losing sight of Dan. But he's looking to counter at the same time. Whoever gets the second win at this point, they have the best opportunity to win this fight.
And if you are JoJo Dan, he's just using his body and his strength to keep Jamal James on the ropes against him. Jamal James earlier in the fight was able to get away from him, but JoJo Dan has just been non-stop aggression.
He definitely has success when he has Jamal against the ropes. What was interesting, just a second ago, Jamal steered him and maneuvered him, and he's starting to land some real Achilles type of punches on JoJo right now. He's slowing him up just a little bit. JoJo's not having the success he had 2 rounds ago.
But then you mentioned how with JoJo Dan, he's been successful because, yes, he's been throwing his jab, and it's been his strength and his bravado and his sheer will that has been helping him to succeed some rounds in the fight. But Jamal James has been absent from using the jab.
Definitely. He's been working, JoJo's been working the body, but he has his spots here and there. But more fluently, Jamal James is controlling the fight, even though he looks like the body shots are affecting him a little bit. But he still looks like he's in control and in control of the fight.
He's seeing better at this point. He's seeing better what's coming in, the incoming that's coming in, and he's countering pretty well. JoJo hasn't changed up anything, even when he was having success. So Jamal is adjusts a little bit, even when he's bending over, he's coming back with something underneath now, back up to the top, like right there.
Left hooks to the body there by JoJo Dan. And Jamal James retreating backwards.
This is muscle memory right here.
Final 10 seconds of the 9th round. They both are in a battle of wills. In the welterweight division, Jamal James and JoJo Dan putting on exciting stuff. The 10th and final round. Let's take a look at how Jamal James starting off strong.
I think what was interesting, the last 15 seconds of the round, Jamal James starts shaking his right hand in rhythm and being a little bit, you know, brash there. So I think he's got his second win and feels like he's in control. He even gave an acknowledgement to JoJo when they touched gloves for the last round. I think he's got his feet back up under him and he's landing some pinpoint shots.
And let's take a look at how the fans have the fight scored on the Throwdown scoring app between Jamal James and JoJo Dan. They have Jamal James ahead comfortably. Virgil and Dan, do you agree with that?
I agree with it. I gave JoJo some a good 3 rounds. The last 2 rounds has allowed Jamal back into the fight. And Jamal is comfortable now. He's got his second win. He's pinpointing. You can tell his legs are back up under him. He's punching with accuracy. He's not trying to knock JoJo out. He's just trying to put the punches on the target. So he's being effective with it.
Yeah, I think JoJo does good work to the body, but Jamal's more consistent over the rounds and through the fight. So in my eyes, I feel like he's doing nothing in this fight.
Boy, this just seems to be the Jamal James way, where he doesn't make it easy for himself, but you know what? It's one of those things where it is fan-friendly television. Sometimes you just have that mentality and a crushing right hand there by Jamal James.
You have to look at the body language also, where his body language is saying, I'm in charge. I'm winning this fight. I'm in charge of this fight. And that's what he's exhibiting here. He's having fun actually right now.
Well, now he threw an uppercut from I don't know what angle, and it's just very unique, unorthodox, but it's working for Jamal James.
He's just got back into the groove. He's feeling pretty good right now. He adjusted well.
JoJo Dan is throwing, but it's a lot of punches, Danny.
He's definitely coming. Right now he's just digging deep. He's trying to land something.
And now there's a shot below the belt as Jamal James taking a little bit of time. It's never fun to get hit there, right?
Let's go. Go, keep it up.
Worst feeling in the world.
I like the way Jamal is pushing himself. He's talking to himself, and that's a good sign. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. I'm ready.
It's indicative of the song that it came out to by Prince, Let's Go, but Jamal James isn't going crazy. He's actually just going, but it is a smooth, calculated aggression by Jamal James.
He's settled into his rhythm. That's what he's done. And when he wants to rest, he rests. And when he wants to punch, he punches. He's getting into
It has been a terrific welterweight affair. Jamal James and JoJo Dan. Shango back inside the ring and looks sharp. He had a difficult matchup ahead of him against JoJo Dan. There is Jamal's mom. She's concerned, but I think that should absolutely get past her because it looks like her son should be en route to a W, depending on how the judges have it scored for JoJo Dan. He gave a good effort, but Jamal James seemed to have a bit more.
He did. His pedigree showed tonight, taking nothing away from JoJo. He gave a spirited fight like he always did. He's a professional. He's a pro fighter. You got these young kids you got to keep going through. At 35 years old, taking tough fights like this back to back to back to back, at some point, there's some give. But at no point would I take anything away from him. He's a courageous warrior, and I'd like him to get the most out of the sport.
Ladies and gentlemen, haven't gone the distance. We go to the scorecards. Here are your score totals. Judge at ringside, Robin Taylor has the bout 99-91. Glenn Feldman 98-92. Kevin Morgan 97-93. All for your winner by unanimous decision, Jamal Shango James. Jamal James.
It was. He's right back into the mix after his loss to Ugas. He's forced in the welterweight division. He's going to have to be reckoned with. He has an upside to his career. Looking forward to more boxing from him.